Morning, Waterline. Happy Sunday. Happy Mother's Day. My name is Laura Walls, and once again, welcome to my home. I'm so glad that even though we're not able to come together physically, we're still able to come together as friends, home to home, computer to computer, phone to phone, together to discover God's truth. You see, we realize that His truth changes everything. This changes everything. As we continue this series, we want to give another special thank you to one of our partners in ministry, Life Church, for letting us share from their past sermon series. But I also want to encourage you, wherever you're at, wherever you're watching or listening from, interact in those comments, interact with the ones around you, and let's together grow in His truth. His truth changes everything. All right, friends, here's where we're at. You see, the last few weeks we've been talking all about our thoughts. And you guys, we have a lot of thoughts. And we've come to realize that our thoughts are powerful because it's said that where we end up in life is a result of the way we think. Did you catch that? Where we end up in life is a result of the way we think. You see, Solomon, one of the wisest to ever live, says in Proverbs 4:23, "Be careful how you think. Your life is shaped by your thoughts." These last couple weeks, we've journeyed together to discover God's truth when it comes to dealing with guilt and anxiety. And in the next couple weeks, we're going to talk about forgiveness. Now, I know that's a big topic with a lot of emotion. And next week, we're going to talk about those bigger betrayals, those deeper hurts, the ones that are hard to even explain. But this week, we're going to ease in. We're still going to keep it real, but we're going to talk about the real life struggle that is forgiveness. But first, we're going to start off with something fun, something a little lighter, and I need you to answer this question. What in life brings you joy? You, right there. What in life brings you joy? Now, I'm guessing that some of you might say things like, you love to be outside and enjoy the sunshine. Maybe it's riding your motorcycle or spending holidays with family. Or I think we all agree that Chick-fil-A brings us joy. If I can get some praise hands in the comment section for Chick-fil-A. Maybe it is watching your kiddos enjoy life. You would say that you have so much joy when you watch your kids. Or maybe it's the office supply section from the store. That's probably just me. But what in life brings you joy? You see, for my husband, Micah, and I, we love lots of things, but there are two things that come to mind. Laughter brings us joy. Y'all, we love to laugh. And I'm talking like crying, can't breathe kind of laughter is the best kind, right? That brings us joy. Another thing that brings us joy, campfires. Always up for a good campfire. To stay up late and sit around a campfire with friends and just share life is one of the things in life that brings us the most joy. So now I hope you had a chance to think about it or something popped in your head, because here is what I know about me and you. Each one of us longs to experience a life full of joy. I'm talking about the breathing easy, walking in confidence joy that comes from God. And I would have to say that I think very few of us would say that we don't want that. You see, here's what I know. I know that we want that, but I also know that while it's pretty easy to think of things that bring us joy, it's also not that hard to think of a whole list of things that have us left feeling hurt or offended. It's not that hard. You see, here's some examples. Maybe you have found yourself either in your head, or maybe you've actually said it out loud, talking something about how you couldn't believe someone said that, like what's up with their tone or like their body language, or can you believe they posted that on Facebook? Maybe you've thought, man, they didn't even say thank you. Y'all, the list goes on and on. There's different things in life that have us left feeling hurt or offended. Like, for example, in my own life, like here I am longing for joy, and yet I'm ticked off because the neighbor decided to mow his lawn during my Zoom meeting, right? I chuckle at those, but the truth is the world doesn't make it hard to find things that have us feeling hurt or offended. It doesn't take much scrolling. It doesn't take much searching to find those things. But while the world has many things that can leave us hurt or offended, the Bible also speaks of the devil, our enemy. And in Revelation 12:10, it says that he is the accuser of the ones around us. Accuser of the ones around us. That the enemy would love nothing more than to accuse the ones around us and to consume our thoughts, which are powerful, with those accusations. You see, the enemy knows that his greatest tactic to stealing your joy is to consume your thoughts with the offenses of others. Let me add a quick Taylor Swift reference in here just so we're all on the same page. You ever heard the song Bad Blood by Taylor Swift? See, in the song, she talks all about hurt and offense and the bad blood that she has between people. And the truth is, the song is really fun to sing, but it's really hard to live out. It's really hard to live out because we're learning that bitter never feels better. Let me say it again. Bitter never feels better. You see, the enemy wants to consume our thoughts. Knowing our thoughts are powerful, he loves to consume our thoughts with accusations, offenses, and bitterness that rob us of the joy that we so greatly desire. Here's an example from my own life. Just a few years ago, I was sitting around a campfire. One of the things that I told you brings me the most joy. And I was sitting around a campfire with friends when someone made a comment that hurt my feelings. Now, whether it was intentional or not, it still hurt. And I found my thoughts totally consumed by that one comment. And what I realized is that the enemy was robbing me of the joy, something that I find so joyful, was robbing me of that joy by consuming my thoughts of accusations from a statement. You see, here's what I'm learning and what I'm wanting us all to learn. That God's purpose for our life is far too great to let our thoughts be consumed by something so small. Hear me out. I'm not talking about the deep pain or the hurts that some of us have experienced. We're going to journey together through that next week. But on the small stuff, I need us to hear that our purpose in life, that God's purpose for our life is far too great to let our thoughts be consumed by something so small. You see, we serve a God that said he's made us, you and I, on purpose for a purpose. A God that in Ephesians 12:10 says that we are a masterpiece. A God that wants us to experience that breathing easy, walking in confidence kind of joy that we long for. He's a God that sent his son as the ultimate example of forgiveness. You see, the message of Christianity is a message of forgiveness. That despite the turning our backs or writing off our faith or unfriending God, despite all of that, that there is forgiveness available through Jesus. And we're to be an example of that. You see, forgiven people forgive. Forgiven people forgive. Even in real time, Jesus on the cross spoke the words of forgiveness when he said, "Father, forgive them, they don't know what they're doing." And it's time for us to forgive. It's time for us to learn to forgive, but it's also time for us to fight for our joy. And you may ask me, you may say, "Laura, that sounds great, but how do we do that?" Here's where we're at. We have a choice every single day when we experience something that we find that's hurtful or offensive. So whether you're in conversation with someone or you're scrolling through social media and you find yourself with that anger or accusation or bitterness that literally takes the joy out of you, you and I have a choice. In those moments, we have a choice to either hurt and hold on or love and let go. Hurt and hold on or love and let go. To hurt and to hold on is to assume the worst. It's to let your thoughts be consumed, and it's to watch the joy in life literally dwindle away in that moment. It's to continue the cycle that we've been in. That's to hurt and hold on. But to love and let go is to believe the best rather than assume the worst. It's to surrender those thoughts to God, whether the hurt or offense was intentional or not. That God, those thoughts are yours. And it's to experience the joy that so many of us long for. That's what it means to love and let go. Now, I'm not saying what someone did was not hurtful or wrong. I'm not saying that at all. And I'm sure not saying that it's just easy to love and let go. In fact, C.S. Lewis, one of the greatest authors, says, "Everyone thinks forgiveness is a lovely idea until he has something to forgive." You see, it can be hard, but it's harder not to. Bitter is never better. God's word speaks a lot about this. In Proverbs 10:12, it says, "Hatred stirs up conflict, but love covers over all wrongs." Proverbs 17:9 says, "Whoever would foster love covers over an offense, but whoever repeats the matter separates close friends." In Proverbs 19:11, it goes on to say, "A person's wisdom yields patience. It is to one's glory to overlook an offense." Even Paul in the Bible, with everything that he had been through and everything that he was experiencing, tells us in Ephesians, "Always be humble and gentle. Be patient with one another, making allowance for each other's faults because of your love." You see, choosing to forgive means to love and let go rather than to continue the exhausting cycle of hurting and holding on. Love changes everything. So here's where we're at. The next time we experience an offense or a hurt, whether in traffic, on social media, you overhear a snarky remark, or you're experiencing something that gets your heart racing, at that moment, in that very, very moment, realize that there is a God that we serve that wants us to experience joy. He does not want to see the joy robbed from us. It's a God that wants us to be an example of forgiveness and show the world that forgiven people forgive. He is a God who has created us with so great a purpose that our life is so great than to let our thoughts be consumed by something so small. He's a God that says love changes everything. And so I'm calling us today, tomorrow, in the days to come, for us to fight for our joy, for us to choose to forgive, and for us to love like Jesus, the greatest example of that. Would you pray with me? God, I just pray right now that in whatever situation that we find ourselves in the coming days, weeks, even the coming moments, God, that we would fight for our joy, that we would choose to forgive, and that we would love like Jesus, and that we would put a stop to the enemy robbing us of the joy that we long to experience. God, we thank you that you're here to help us with that. We thank you that you call us to that. And so, God, I pray for each and every one of us that we would experience that and that we would have a victory and that we would show the world what it means that forgiven people forgive. Amen. Hey friends, if you made a decision in your faith today, or you have a prayer request, or you have questions, we want to journey with you. Make sure you fill out that digital connect card so that we're able to connect with you. But also, if you want to meet with a pastor, maybe you just need someone to talk with and someone to pray with, you can text the word CARE to the number on the screen, and we'll be able to set up a time for that. Now, as you heard earlier, we are doing everything we can to come up with a safe and strategic plan for bringing us all back together. But with that, we also want to remind you of some upcoming dates. Do not forget about these. You see, on Tuesday, May 19th, at our Pendleton campus, from 5:30 to 7:30, we'll be having drive-by prayer and communion available. We'll have the same thing the following Tuesday, May the 26th, at our Fishers campus, from 5:30 to 7:30 as well. You'll also want to mark your calendar for Sunday, May the 31st at 2 p.m., where right outside our Fishers campus, we're going to have a special commissioning experience for Pastors John and Danielle. So mark those dates. We can't wait to see you guys, but also have a happy Mother's Day. Have a great Sunday. We'll see you later. We love you, Waterline.